Hello everyone, this video will help you to understand Romeo and Juliet Act 2 better. If you haven't read Act 2 yet, I suggest that you read carefully before watching this. So let's get started. The prologue is presented in a form of a sonnet. It creates the mood and the setting for Act 2, evoking suspense. We realize that Romeo and Juliet share a love so powerful which would overcome all the obstacles in their way. However, it also foreshadows the tragic fate of the two star-crossed lovers, catering to the themes enchanting power of physical appearances and parental influence. Romeo, along with his friends, leave the feast, yet he does not want to go home. He jumps through a wall bordering Capulet property and leaps into their orchard. Benvolio and Mercutio come looking for Romeo. He hides from them. Mercutio makes fun of Romeo and his love for Rosaline using obscene speech. He uses many allusions to insult Romeo, finally referring to Romeo as a performing monkey pretending to be dead. No matter how hard Mercutio teases Romeo, he does not show himself. Shakespeare has personified the night again. Benvolio suggests that Romeo's love is naive, and it is best if he hides in the darkness, as in daylight his love could cause him even death. Benvolio and Mercutio leaves Romeo saying Romeo doesn't want to be found. The fact that Romeo hides from his friends to see Juliet again suggests his strong attraction, bringing out the theme female beauty and love and putting a lot of emphasis on physical attraction. Act 2 is considered the happiest and the least tragic in the play. Shakespeare has explored the positive and joyful aspects of young love, while carefully pointing out the subtle struggle between desire and need for caution. Scene 2 carries the most famous balcony scene in theatre. However, in the real play, it is Juliet looking down a window. This famous balcony scene is a perfect example of the theme darkness and light. Their love is the power and also a destruction force. Romeo imagines that Juliet is the sun which rises from the east to chase away the night. He gives Juliet the power to transform night into day. He is using this metaphor to suggest that Juliet is now the center of his universe. Shakespeare uses the most poetic and romantic comparisons to illustrate the young love. Juliet is compared to light. She is addressed as bright angel, winged messenger from heaven, and dear saint, symbolizing purity, uplifting the physical attraction to a sacred position. Juliet, however, is aware the danger they both are in. Romeo being Romeo and herself being a Capulet is the obstacle in their way. Juliet in this scene shows her wise thoughts. She believes there is nothing in the name, yet knows the danger. Romeo, willing to change even his name, says walls or relations cannot stop love. The theme of love and hatred is brought out in this scene. They confess their love for each other in the darkness. Romeo and Juliet both seem happy as they have received each other's love. Juliet, however, wishes to marry Romeo and seeks to know his intentions. She makes it clear that she does not wish to be played. Their conversation about marriage elevates their relationship from mere attraction to a sacred bond. Shakespeare implies that Juliet seeks a love without social repercussions. However, the word battle between the two reflects the real world which would not accept their love. The bird in the end is symbolic. Juliet's words foreshadow the events to come at the end of the play, which we all know is going to be tragic. The scene takes place in the following day morning. Romeo, as he promised to Juliet to speak to his priest about their marriage, comes to see Friar Lawrence. When Romeo arrives, Friar Lawrence is contemplating about the power of nature, how a plant could be both medicinal and poisonous, depending on the intentions of the user. Friar is shocked about Romeo's sudden new love. He also comments on the fickleness of young love, however, agrees to help them get married with the hope that it would end the enmity of the two families. Friar Lawrence is a kind-hearted friend of Romeo and Juliet. His theory about herbs reflect his consent given to Romeo to help with the marriage. His intentions are pure. He wishes to use their love to end an enmity. However, he is an unknowing servant of fate. All his plans lead to misunderstandings and the final tragedy. Friar Lawrence makes comments about how immature Romeo seems when he decides to replace one love he was dying for another in an instance. Romeo's answers further confirms his immature nature. The conversation about Rosaline continues to scene 4. Mercutio begins to ridicule Romeo's love for Rosaline, comparing her to beauties of the past. However, all these stories about these beauties strangely resemble the tragic ending of Romeo and Juliet. There is plot development. The audience await Romeo and Juliet's wedding ceremony. Nurse and Peter arrive to know about the plan. Nurse shows her affection towards Juliet. She cautions Romeo about his intentions, mentions about Paris but ensures Juliet has little interest in him. In this scene, the theme of identity is addressed. Romeo's jovial nature is who he really is, according to Mercutio. He believes that Romeo has finally got rid of the helpless, miserable lover's role. For Juliet, he is a true lover and her lord. In this scene, both these characteristics of Romeo are seen. He is a true Montague friend and Juliet's lover. The nurse's role provides comic relief, but at the same time brings out her protective wisdom. Further, it is important to note that she believes Paris is a far better suitor for Juliet. Yet, Romeo does not notice what she says as he is occupied with thoughts about the marriage. In this scene, we find Juliet in the Capulet's orchard, impatiently waiting for her nurse. The nurse complains of her fatigue. To tease her, she grows frantic. The nurse breaks the news of Romeo waiting for her at Friar Lawrence's cell to marry her. Throughout these scenes, Shakespeare touches the thrilling joy of young romantic love. The young lovers seem electric with anticipation. The audience, however, already knows that the ending is a tragedy. Some ominous foreshadowing is blended with the nurse's delay in breaking the news to Juliet. Later in the play, her anguish leads to terrible confusion. In this scene, Romeo and Juliet get married. A more powerful foreshadowing is seen in Friar Lawrence's statement. His words about intense love and violent endings reinforce the presence of fate, a fate so powerful that cannot be avoided. Friar Lawrence further emphasizes on moderation of everything. Too much of anything could be harmful. This appeals to all the characters in the play. Although beautiful, if the young lovers were moderate in their affection, they would not face a tragic fate, which eventually they would. Romeo's reaction to Friar Lawrence suggests that he understands his love could be dangerously brief. As marriage brings them together, in the future they merge to the extent where they fail to see anything but each other and a life without each other. That leads to their tragic ending in the play. So children, with that we come to the end of Act 2, Romeo and Juliet. I hope this video helped you to understand Act 2 better. Thank you for watching. Let's meet with Act 3 again.